First of all, before we start, I want to see what your initial thoughts are with the episode in
Okay.
general. What did you think about the season 13 premiere episode 1?
Okay, so can I say something that sounds a little negative off the top, but isn't, and then it's going to wrap around to a compliment?
Okay, let's do it.
And you will learn this. Everyone will learn this, just like you learn when we recap Russell and myself a little R&R. When we recap Housewives of Miami, I go hard for Larsa. Like I'm always Team Larsa all the time. You're gonna hear me be Team Melissa quite a bit. And so when the season started in the trailer and oh gosh, it's gonna be about the wedding and they're not invited or they chose not to go, I was like, do we really want to see Melissa and Teresa? And then there was a part of me that said, like, the daughters, like, and the cousins and all that. Like, it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm the type of person who says, if you don't invite me to a wedding, I don't want to go to the wedding. So I'm always Team Melissa in that regard. But I just thought the season was going to be too much of that. But I felt like we got a lot of introductions to a bigger cast, a larger cast, and a lot of new bodies in there, new cast members who are ready to shake it up a little bit. So I'll be able to like my Melissa, my beloved Joe Gorga, and still be intrigued, I think, most of the time, at least before the wedding.
Can I tell you my new favorite right now is Danielle?
Oh, well.
Danielle is my absolute new favorite housewife on New Jersey. I mean, I love Melissa and I'm always going to love Melissa, and Dolores is my girl and she knows that. Shout out to Melissa this morning. She saw the story that we're going to be going live.
Oh, nice.
Melissa seen it. Who else seen it? Danielle seen it this morning. And wait for it.
Oh,
Jackie Goldsnyder. She saw our post this morning about that we would be going live. So hopefully they will be in the comments sooner rather than later.
Right.
But I will say, like, just following suit with who I love, like, I feel like Danielle is going to be one that I love. She's very much giving, I can be your friend, but I can kick your ass as well. But she doesn't want to. She's giving Pink. Pink has always said that, like, I can beat you up, but I prefer not to. I prefer to love you versus hate you. And I feel like Danielle can be that person. She'd much rather love you than have issues with you.
Right.
And I think that's a great energy to bring into a cast like this who has such history together. And I mean, overall, I think she's great. I mean, we'll get to her husband later.
Hey, it's funny. She is, I always say this in other shows that we recap or I recap on my own. Sometimes in whatever creative field that you're going for, you want to act like you've been there before. Well, for her, lucky enough, she has been here before. She was, even though these were smaller scenarios, she did the True Life on MTV. I'm a Staten Island girl. She did HGTV with her husband. So she knows what it's like to be around camera. She knows what it's like to perform. And I think she also knew that she brings so much to the table that she didn't have to be messy episode 1. And I think that's what we get a lot of times with new cast members. It's like episode 1, they got to show it all. I think we got the tip of the iceberg with Danielle. And let me tell you what I loved about her more than anything. Not just that she's a confessional queen, but she's a descriptive woman. Like, she describes everything so good. She goes, I got to ring it in because my daughter, she's going to be a problem, which only I know that girl. I know that lady, the girls that we hang out with when we were young, and who now have like a daughter who's going to be the same way.
You know what? You know what's so fun about the whole family dynamic when they showed them at home was that she's able to have fun with her husband. It's like we're so used to men doing the peck dance and everyone wants to see a man have their peck dance. But then she threw herself in there and she's like, mommy can do the booby dance too after her surgery. And I thought that was great because it really levels the playing field for everyone. And it takes a certain element out of it that just it's fun. It's lighthearted. It allows her kids to be comfortable with themselves. And I think as a young mom, like, she's really knocking it out of the park from what we've seen, and we only got a glimpse of what we know about her so far. And so far, I love her.
Well, I'm not really the greatest at this. I don't know if you are, and I got to get better, but she can elevate what is it called? An elevator pitch. She can elevator pitch herself within seconds. And I think she did it like 7 different times. Yeah. Even when I was kind of getting some information on her, getting ready for our show here, her like YouTube channel, but then also her clothing line for kids, which is one of her businesses, is like her whole branding was like, I'm a bougie mom. And then the branding for the kids clothing line was bougie kids. So it's like she manages to give us so much of her without us waiting for it to be told. Like we see who you are, and honestly, we love it. We love Danielle.
And I have a special place in my heart for Jersey just because they always call Long Beach the New Jersey of LA. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, there's not a single thing wrong with that, and we appreciate it.
Well, Long Beach is a vibe. Jersey has its parts that are a vibe, of course. Is that why you're wearing your like Long Beach-ish, New Jersey-ish tank top today?
This is my Guido tank. Look, we all know that my mother is Sicilian, so I had to bring it out.
Because we don't see you do this before. Right?
Just in case, let me get into this. Just in case you all forgot, this is what it is. And I'm here to give you everything, okay?
Well, I mean, if you're in the gym every day, you might as well enjoy it while you're on camera too.
Gosh, I have.
Come on.
For everybody that's watching, we actually have. I will be on Ronnie's podcast right after this. We'll be covering the Real Housewives of Miami. We're going on episode number 13 now. 13, yeah.
Which, by the way, there was an episode. I mean, I don't even know how this happens with us or you, where Russell showed not his bare butt, but his butt on the camera. And again, it's because these shows are so wacky. Real Housewives of Miami, Real Housewives of New Jersey. So if you think the tank top is anything.
I mean, to be fair, we were talking about everybody doing a Brazilian. And again, it happened yesterday when I was working. Someone came up to me and they're like, "Can I ask you a personal question?" And I'm like, "Is my butt real or fake?" They're like, "Yeah, is it real or is it fake?" I was like, "It's absolutely 100% real. I've worked so hard for this. I've eaten so many carbs. Lord knows I've eaten a lot of carbs to get what I have. But I'm blessed. I'm thankful." And again, after both of our shows today, after this show, after the Real Housewives of Miami, then I'm going straight to go meet with my trainer, Saul Martinez, and he is going to just like have me quivering because boy just
cheers to
shakes me up and throws me out.
Cheers to the Aquariuses because it's go time.
It is. It's Aquarius season. All right, so I want to get right into it. What do we think about Teresa's intro what do we think about the intro with Teresa's wedding and the cuts in between about all the drama?
Oh gosh, I'm glad that there are Tree fans. I'm so happy about it. Yay! Because I'm not one of them. I don't even think season 1, episode 1, she actually flipped the table. She gave it a light nudge. And she's got quite an ego. She's not really fun, but you know what? It's her happy day. She did go through a lot in terms of, she did, I mean, gosh, what she went through even going away for a little bit because of her husband and, the time she lost with her mother, and her regrouping is nice. So even though I'm not a big Tree fan, and I think she's sort of maneuvering this to her favor in terms of she probably thought it was going to be an entire spinoff, which it wasn't worthy of a full spinoff. But I'm glad. I'm being nice to start. I'm glad that Tree has Tree huggers because I'm not one of them. I'm much more on the other side, but I don't want to, really rain on anyone's parade unless there's a reason. As we get closer to it and there's like the rumors that come out, we'll see how I feel. But why not? Why not? She found a guy that she thinks she's happy with. So if she likes it, I love it. That whole thing.
I don't know if it was the right move to have her wedding as the intro to the show, just because I don't feel like she's the front running housewife anymore. She might be the longest running, but she's not the front running. And by front running, I feel like definitely Melissa and Dolores are right up there with her. And I don't think Teresa deserves any more of a crown than they do. So to fixate and focus on her, I get it. There's a storyline, and the storyline that takes place this season probably makes sense with the intro. But again, I don't feel like Teresa was the right move for that anymore. I think she definitely deserves a place on the show because she holds her own and she brings her own drama and element to it. But I think that they definitely should be shifting the tides here, especially because the cast now seems to be a lot more fun, right? Especially with the new girls. Margaret doesn't take herself too serious. Even Jennifer is making it work this season, which is nice.
Is she? Is she? Is she? Is she?
I knew you're gonna have some reservations on that one. We'll get into that though in a minute. But I feel like this is a fun cast. Before, when it was Dina, Caroline, Teresa, Danielle, it was a very tense and very strong-headed cast. You couldn't tell anybody anything.
Mhm.
It was all about trying to implement the Italian mob style lifestyle at the beginning of Housewives of Jersey. And now we're in this fun, young second generation, third generation of Jersey, which I really appreciate
Yeah.
because that's where you and I fit in the most. And I feel like that is what's going to relate most to the Real Housewives of New Jersey audience.
Well, and it has to be peaks and valleys, you know, like in
Yeah.
order for it to be so dramatic, you would have to see the fun side. You would have to see the warmth. You know what I mean? For you to always be on 100 and there be an issue all the time, it kind of makes you think, is there really an issue? Peaks and valleys is one thing, but the other thing is, you asked me the question, do I like Teresa's wedding at the top? I honestly don't ever like those flash forwards, and I think I've heard Andy Cohen talk about he loves a flash forward. The way I think about it is like, if I'm watching a scripted series, I could see a reason for a flash forward. Here's this scene, this epic issue, or this epic wedding, or this epic argument. But let's go back 3 months. I get it in that regard on scripted, but not on reality. We're watching, and by the way, we already have heard everything in the Twitter universe and Instagram universe and stuff like that. So I'm not a big flash forward kind of person, but I do want to make one mention before you go to your next point. I agree with you. And listen, Tree, I hope she gets a spinoff so she could, sail far away from here. But I will also say that you're right. Russell is right. I think while Melissa is the queen too, Dolores, and it doesn't mean anything per se. It doesn't mean anything, but it does. Dolores looking so good on Watch What Happens Live, right there with Isaac Mizrahi as the leading cast member on premiere night. Russell, that means something. In my book, it means something. So maybe there is a shift. I think there is a shift coming in Jersey.
Do you think for the reunion special that she will have the front seat? Because historically, we know the person who has the front seat is usually the front runner of the show at the moment. It's their moment. And the only reason I ask is because if we look at the tail end of last season, it was on a charity event and an event that Dolores was hosting. And now this season, we're spearheading off of another event that Dolores is hosting as well.
I think unfortunately it's gonna be Teresa versus Melissa, the showdown. The why weren't you invited? Does this break up the family? Can you mend the family? I think it's gonna be seat one and seat one, both on both sides. I don't think Dolores is gonna get the front seat. However, Dolores opens up a lot. She was kind of in a rut. She was always with Frank Catania, which was great, but now she's finding somebody that might have a future. I don't want to predict anything, but I don't want to be against the idea that come reunion time, Dolores sits in the middle and she lights up the show and is the fan favorite and comes with some information about, well, you know what? We're engaged, and that's kind of the new shift of the new season. And by that time, we're going to see a lot more Danielle. Things are going to be shook up by that time. This whole structure we have of same story. Did Melissa sneak her way into the show? We're ready for new stories. And I think Dolores, don't count her out. I know people try to, but don't do it.
Honestly, I'm so tired of Teresa talking about the whole family aspect and, show me love. I've been hearing show me love since Melissa got on the show. And there's something to be said when the common issue is the same person. So we saw the issues with Rosie and Kathy with Teresa. Common issue. There was an issue with Caroline and Teresa, but Teresa still being friends with Dina, which is Caroline's sister, and Caroline and Dina don't even speak anymore. And then there was the issue with Teresa and Jacqueline, and then Jacqueline left. And now there's the issue again with Teresa and Melissa and Joe, after they had already not spoken for so many years.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's neither here nor there. I feel like that's going to get tired. And I'm tired of being tired. That's why I put Kiehl's under my eyes so that I'm not tired anymore. But I feel like Dolores is definitely bringing a lot to the show. And speaking of Dolores, this is time for our next segment. Dolores said, what? Or call her what? Because of what Dolores said to, let me find it here. Oh, wrong one.
Yeah, let's not rush to that.
What Dolores said to Jennifer. So what do we think about this whole argument as she called her a see you next Tuesday during the reunion, which is why I chose to place Jennifer in her reunion outfit and Dolores in her promo outfit. What are we thinking?
We're thinking Jennifer, I call her the comedian because remember the season she called herself a comedian. Jennifer the comedian is this is good. This is good. This is good. Do you want to know what's good? This is good. What's good, Russell, is that for so many seasons, it was just her and Jackie as the newbies. And yes, she always kind of outshined Jackie, not because I love Jackie. Jackie is much more my style, but she was able to just misbehave. Well, now you got people who are, newbies that are, which kind of puts you in the veteran status on this show. And suddenly you're getting outshined a little bit. So I don't know who's going to take a shot at her or if she's going to take a shot at somebody. But Jennifer's days, in my opinion, are a little bit numbered. But I've always thought that. I've always thought she wasn't really great for the show. And the only reason she ever got to stay on the show is because she was hovering up under Teresa. But listen, if Teresa has new friends now or other friends and built-in family within Louis' sisters, then Jennifer's not exactly needed. And beyond all of that, and I know there's more to the story and we'll find out, once it gets physical at BravoCon, that's like a whole nother thing, yeah, BravoCon and her getting physical with the Gorgas, like that's not not we but the people who do the show, you do the show for the entertainment, and there are certain like passes I think you could give each of the cast members. I obviously am not a big physical, like I watch the show for the wordsmiths of it all, like whoever's could cut deep with the tongue, but not necessarily like, physical or whatever. And it's one thing for things to get physical on the show, which I don't love. But then when they get physical at BravoCon, no, I'm not into it. And that's what Jennifer has given off camera. So she is as about, I can't even get the words out. She's about as good as gone, in my opinion.
It's funny you say that because you're right. She has been under Teresa's wing for so long. And she was actually one of only Teresa's loyal friends. I feel like Dolores is still with Teresa, but Dolores isn't afraid to put Teresa in her place or say something. And I feel like Jennifer, because Teresa has such a significance in persuasiveness of who's going to be on the show, that Jennifer plays right by Teresa versus just letting it ride. And again, sometimes you only need 15 minutes of fame. Sometimes you need 20 or 30 minutes. I feel like Jennifer has opportunities that she should have capitalized on by now that she has not. Her looks have definitely changed over the seasons because she's gotten a little work here, a little work there. No shame to that. And maybe it's the pressure of the fans asking why does she look a certain way or whatever. Maybe she just did it for herself. Hopefully that's the case. But I definitely feel like you're right when it comes to Jennifer. I don't know how I feel about her being physical with anybody. This Housewives in general has gotten to this new level of being physical. And, we saw the issue back with the Real Housewives of Atlanta where it was Kenya and not Cynthia. It was Kenya and Portia got charges pressed against her. There was just a lot going on. And at what point as viewers do we start to call to action that if we're supporting women that are supporting women, how are we going to continue supporting this franchise if something so negative continuously comes out of it? We saw the scandal that just happened recently with Caroline and Brandi Glanville, and now that's going on. So it's like, scandal is okay, but at what expense? Like, is your life really worth putting in jeopardy with the law or any such way, shape, or form that you would risk it all to be on television? Like, if you're doing something shady, don't be on television. They're going to dig up your past. I don't know. There's just, I don't know. Like, just stop touching each other. Stop putting your hands on each other. If anything, just put your hands on each other. Just put your hands on your man and let your man put your hands on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, enjoy that. Take a little bit of Melissa and Joe and just put your hands on each other and just live your best life.
I agree completely. All of that. It's like being a comedian. Like, you can have your, as a comedian, back in the day, they would come up with like a clean set, a TV ready set, and then also stuff that would, really rock at like, the Comedy Store. Like there's the duality between what you bring to the table. Now I know
Mhm.
reality stars aren't exactly the same in terms of what their skill set is, but you
Yeah.
should be able to be like good on camera and still, like I say, cut with the tongue, but not necessarily have to go to the lengths of like, like if you can't be dramatic
Mhm.
without like throwing water on somebody,
Mhm.
I mean, you might not even be that compelling to be on TV in the first place. So, but I want to like Jen, and I'm gonna give a pass and an openness because I'm a lot nicer. How I feel these days. I want to give an openness. The problem with Jen, this is my last thing about Jen. She's very much like Heather Gay on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They work very hard to appease Twitter and Instagram, and therefore they never get true sensibility of what's going on in real life and how
Uh-huh.
they don't take a beat, they don't take time away. They sort of become a caricature of themselves for the sake of the show. And I think there's no two people that do that more than Heather Gay and Jennifer Aiden, and it feeds them, but not always good because yes, living for Jennifer Aiden. It's like, Twitter can't be your only friend. Twitter can't be your only friend.
I don't
Twitter
know
can't
if
be your
there's a I don't know if there's a Jennifer Aiden stan though.
Oh, there
I don't
is.
know if Jennifer really has the backing of fans like that. I feel like fans gravitate more. And again, I don't know how many of the housewives have the backing that Dolores, Melissa,
Hey,
Joe,
hey.
and Teresa have. I really don't, because Teresa has it because she has such a longevity with the show. And now Gia is starting to be featured on the show. So now you have Gia and fans have a Gia stan. And I feel like Gia has an even larger stan of an audience than Jennifer does.
Well, rightfully so. We could move on.
Oh, well, with
right,
that being said,
rightfully so.
well, that being said, then we can move on to our next segment, Teresa versus everyone. Because, like I mentioned
Mm.
before, Teresa just loves to fight. Teresa loves to fight. I wonder if me and Teresa are related because she acts like my sister.
Oh,
I love my sister. No, I love my sister, but sometimes she just be doing things. But
yeah.
we can start off with Teresa versus Margaret.
Okay.
Ironically, right, Margaret has the upper hand in this photo, but she actually injured her wrist. We're gonna go a little bit out of order for a sec, but
Hmm.
she actually injured her wrist at the roll bounce skate party. La la la.
80s party, yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, what do you think about their argument? Teresa asked if she would have her over because, again, and again, Margaret can make fun of herself. So she said, Teresa knows that I don't miss a meal, and so
Oh, as a reference from before, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So as
well,
reference, especially from the tail end of last season, they were having this honky tonk style party that Dolores
oh,
hosted,
yeah.
and they sang "Girl Drama," right? I I got "Girl Drama," whatever. It was a terrible song, according to the girls. This is their
Oh,
opinion. I'm just rephrasing it.
that was the season where they
Um,
did a song, and so did Orange County did a song that season too. Yeah.
did Orange County really do a song?
They did a finale song, yeah. It was real. It was real like 80s poppy, yeah, but like the bad kind. Yeah,
I cannot.
yeah.
I don't even want to. I don't even want to touch that because I live right next to Orange County, and that's already too
Mm,
close for me
hmm,
for
hmm, hmm.
comfort. Um, but I think Louis brings Teresa a sense of humbleness, and so it was actually really surprising to see Teresa invite Margaret over and actually offer the role
Mm,
that she played, and they so negative, and
mm.
they rehashed how they first met and they bonded over the loss of Teresa's mother, and Margaret bought her a big wreath and they put it in the water and they set it off.
That w- that
So
was
it's a
good to
touching moment.
it was good to see that flashback, to see how friendships are built at a really tough
Hmm.
time, a vulnerable Teresa time for sure. And you want them to be friends. You really, really do.
Yeah.
I never know how I feel in terms of this narrative that like, oh, Louis is really grounding Teresa. It's like she's just, kind of her head is in the clouds a lot of times. So I don't know
Hmm.
how much grounding he's actually doing. And another thing is when these housewives go start to date after they get a divorce or whatever, you always see this thing that happens. It happened with Cynthia a little bit. It's like Cynthia's in Atlanta. Cynthia's the first guy she tried to date, they questioned his initiative, or not initiative, his what's it called?
Intention.
Yeah, intention. But then
Yeah.
the very next guy she dated was Mike Hill, who he probably had a spotlight intention. He was a
Yeah.
reporter. He, was launching his books, this, and this. And again, he only stayed with her maybe, was it like 6 months after the camera stopped rolling. I'm not saying Louis like that, but I remember when Teresa did go out on the dating side of things, it was like the first couple people she saw, it was, what are your intentions? What are your intentions? Are you trying to, get her money? Are you trying to this, and this? So like they do that on the first guy that she goes out with, but then like the second person who might not have the greatest of intentions, be it Louis, they're like, no problem. So I squint, I side eye that Louis is the right guy for her. But again, if it makes her happy and if she likes it, I love it. The most interesting thing about the Margaret invite is Margaret did, she tested her water. She did, because it's like when you have a joke with somebody, you can only joke when you're really cool. If you're not that cool, you cannot be saying, oh yeah, you mean like all the bitches? And we know that she was referring to Dolores. Margaret, we know we get it's a funny joke if you're cool with the person.
Yes.
And Teresa's a hothead already. I mean, you did try it.
Here's the thing. When it comes to Teresa and Louis, I feel like Louis might not be entirely grounding her, but I feel like Teresa is playing nice because this relationship is still new to her. How much do you really know a person within the first 2 years? Not a lot. I've been with Shane for about three. Right. We met 3 years ago. And, we're still getting to know each other. So there's that. And we started off as kind of friends, and then we started dating, and like, we're still getting to know each other. So Teresa only knowing this man on just a little over a year is kind of concerning. But at the same time, again, we're all on our best behavior right in the beginning of our relationships. And so we're going to do things that we don't normally do to impress the person that we're with. And I think that's maybe where Teresa is at.
Unless it's a thing where, tomorrow's not promised. So sometimes you do have to act quick with certain things, or if you're a certain age, or, if you have an illness or whatever. But in general, you do want to weather the storm and go through seasons with people. Her being so quick to jump right to, I'm going to have his sisters in my wedding, and my own sister-in-law can't be in the wedding. Like, it's just, not that Melissa's crying her eyes about anything like that, but it is a level of tacky, and it speaks to a level of void that Teresa, because she's been doing this show since she was an anonymous person and has not really had that breakaway from the show outside of being, she was away. It just speaks to like, she hasn't really had a moment to really stop believing the hype. You know what I mean? There's people that are, the battery pack that are like, you are the oldest OG of the series. You're the queen of the table flip. Like, people keep encouraging her, and I think she kind of could use a little time away, because to see what that void is. There's a void in her life, that's for sure. Now, again, if she's happy and she likes it, I love it, but I don't know that she does.
I'm gonna just put a pin in it. I'm just gonna put a pin in that right now, because again, I don't know. Like, you're 50, and I get it. When you're 50, even when you're 30, like, you should know what you want and then continue on and pursue it. But at 50, I'm like, you still have you have a lot of daughters, and I feel like maybe she should have had her own place outside of the place that she had with Joe, really stepped into her independence, with her new house. But they moved in, and now they're cohabitating together, and one of the sons lives with her. And again, mentioning her relating Louis' sisters as her new sisters, that's tricky, because
but you don't even know them yet.
But you don't even respect your husband, because that may be his only siblings. He might not have brothers. So it's like, do you respect him by having his sister's part of your wedding party, or do you be selfish and say, no, this is my side, and only my girls and my people are going to be on my side. I don't care about who you have on your side. I don't want anybody on my, in my terms, to be on your side. I feel like weddings can get very tricky in that aspect. If I get married, I almost don't want to have any of my siblings in the wedding. just because it's going to get way too complicated, way too fast. I have a brother, I have 2 sisters, I have 7 nieces and nephews. I'm close with every single one of them. I helped raise 3 of them. And it's like, well, if I don't put my older niece and nephew into my wedding, you know what I mean? Like, is that going to be a problem? Is, you know what I mean? Who's going to be the flower person or flower girl, flower boy? Like, what's going to happen if I have somebody from my fraternity in my wedding? Is that going to be an issue? And it's like, like at the end, I get why
you can't make everyone happy. Yeah, you can't make everyone.
And I understand the hurt from Melissa. I do, but at the same time, it's like, just let it. And which Melissa's doing, just let it be. You know.
Yeah, and I to your question, I do understand the compromise of if Louis wants his sisters in the wedding, you bring them over to you know the bridal side. I can see that. I can see that. It's just the way it's done, and it's this whole like I'm gonna stick it to Melissa thing. It's like Melissa's not really paying attention to you that much, but okay. And weddings are difficult. And I think what makes this show difficult for someone like Teresa is, like they kind of the show, the Bravo and the reality fans, they expected that you're almost forced to give them a love story. You know what I mean? No one really takes well to like, oh, okay, Teresa's like studying more and she's becoming independent. They're looking for that. Joe is out of the picture. They went through what they went through. The kids are fine. Everyone's good. And she's got to like find love again so quickly. So if I was a Teresa fan, I would say I really have a little sympathy for that. So even if Louis not the right guy, I have sympathy for her being in this situation, being not forced, but almost encouraged to find somebody and we celebrate love. Nobody celebrates the single person at 50 years old, just so you know. They celebrate love, and sometimes when you're on these shows, you'll give them that. I'm not saying Teresa's fake by any means, but sometimes you will give them that because you kind of have to. Yeah.
I mean, but we did celebrate J-Lo when she was single at 50. Just saying.
Well, she's an icon.
She is. J-Lo is an icon. And some people don't give J-Lo enough credit, but you know who does? Melissa.
Yeah. She's the J-Lo of Housewives. Yes.
She is the J-Lo of Housewives. And she gives credit to J-Lo. Actually, I think her and J-Lo have somewhat of a mutual friendship. And
yeah, I think they share like either like hair and makeup, like on occasion. I know that Elaine Goldsmith Thomas, who's J-Lo's producing partner, has been on Melissa Gorga's podcast, and even Elaine, who's that deep into the industry and doing these huge movies with Jennifer Lopez. Like Elaine was on the podcast saying, you know what, I love what you and Joe do on that show. Like you guys are so authentic, like we connect. So yeah, there is a connection in terms of Melissa and J-Lo, and I think that's why sometimes people can't take her, because people don't like people to succeed, or just not succeed, because that's not succeeding per se if J-Lo or J-Lo's team likes you, but people don't like to see people of certain statures liking you. They kind of hate it. Jennifer, that has gotten under Jennifer's skin in the past. It has Jennifer the comedian.
And like, look, again, circling back to Housewives and Melissa and Teresa. I mean, I did specifically make a graphic for this because, sister-in-law's at war. Of course, Melissa looks flawless with her boxing glove, chilling on her music box, and Teresa looks like she just got out the gym, But
both beautiful women.
I'm tired of seeing the in-laws fight. I am.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. The storyline for me is dead. I don't want to see a whole season of Teresa and Melissa getting into it. Right off the top, we're seeing Teresa saying she wanted to keep me and my brother away, and she finally got her wish. I don't think that's the case. Teresa is very much self-sabotaging, and she puts herself in these situations, which then cause her to be at fault for these.
Yeah.
She just doesn't want to acknowledge it, like Alexia from the Real Housewives of Miami.
Oh no, the twin!
And they posted a picture together when Alexia actually flew out to New York the other day.
Yeah,
they went to go visit each other, and I'm like, you two are one and the same. Like it's just messy beyond messy. And again, like we're in season 13. Let it go. I think Melissa came on in season 4. It's dead. It's gone. It's done.
Yeah.
But what's not done was Melissa's 80s party, which I really appreciated.
Mhm.
I think that was such a moment for everyone to just enjoy themselves. We also got a glimpse at Danielle and
Oh, the newbies. 3
her
newbies.
interaction with the newbies. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought there was only 2. I didn't realize there was gonna be Jennifer something, which is Margaret's friend. I didn't realize we'd have
So
her too.
Jennifer is actually like an official friend of the cast.
Mhm.
So she's not necessarily a main cast member, but she is
Mhm.
a family friend, or she's a friend. She gets
Oh,
friend
okay.
passes like they do on Southwest.
Okay. Oh, and
She has a
Jackie.
buddy pass right now for the Housewives of New Jersey.
Unfortunately, Jackie's a friend of, but I'm okay with that. Jackie to me represents somebody who, like, I'm not like Jackie doesn't have that pressure. She's the antithesis of Jen, basically.
Yeah.
You know, they probably gave her not ultimatums, but like, you know, hey, we need more of this, we need more of that, or and she just keeps it so funky that it's like, this is who I am. If you need to do what you need to do, not that she was asking to be demoted, I'm not saying that, but I think Jackie's like, okay, whatever, like I'm still gonna have fun with my friends, I'm still on the show, like I like Jackie is nice. I wish we would have got more from her. Like it's like all
Mhm.
of a sudden we're used to seeing her on all these seasons as a full-timer, and then we barely get her saying but like 3 words, and then we got the quickest ever lower third Chiron of what was the girl's name? Tiki Barber's wife. Was it Tracy?
Tra-
Like
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
for a nanosecond, can't we like there I mean edit some Jen scenes out of the show. You gotta give us, I mean, why even show us something and not give like a little bit of a hey girl, like something. But I will say that it was at least nice to see Tracy and knowing that she still hangs out with them. But yeah, maybe she'll go on some cast trips or something like that. This show is very good for not cast trips, but like let's go down to the shore, let's like get a house or whatever. So maybe we'll see an influx of all of these cast members, all these couples. I think it's good.
Do you think that do you think that this cast is so big now that they did have to rent out the roller rink for the fact that super fans would have showed up, or they would have been bombarded by people who just wanted their 15 minutes of fame? What did you think about them actually renting the roller rink out for themselves?
I think it's good. I think it's good. I think the Jersey cast does bring a lot. It's a very
Mhm.
interesting location, you know, living in New Jersey is a very unique land. So I think it
Okay.
was the best bet, and it really did showcase. It was almost a little bit dizzy because there was so much going on.
There was a lot going
But
on.
I think that was kind of good, and it opened, like I said, it opened me up in terms of like saying, "Oh no, I don't want Teresa, Melissa. Like that's just too much." So then you
Yeah.
you introduced all these fun new characters. Nobody was, I mean, obviously they were all trying to outshine each other. That's the game. But nobody looked thirsty. Nobody looked desperate right off top.
I don't know if they were out trying to outshine each other, because Upper East Coast people tend to bring main character energy anyways.
Mhm.
I mean, so they're all just giving it. They were just being
Right.
who they are.
Yeah.
So I think in a sense it might come off that way. It might be portrayed that way, but I don't know if they were out trying specifically to outshine each other. I mean, I think Danielle is the new Stan, and it's so refreshing to have a positive Danielle that's
Mhm.
fun and
I
uplifting,
thought. I thought.
because Danielle Staub was not it. She brought drama, always brought drama. I was so over it. Talk about trashy. Like, you're bringing guys with guns and you're trying to challenge everybody, and you want people just to feel like they're going to get beat up like they're in junior high school. Like, girl, bye.
I thought of that right away because on our other podcasts and YouTube recaps we've done,
Uh-huh.
um, yeah, Russell has not been so kind with the way he describes her and someone else who I will not mention. But if you want to see all that, go
Brandy Glam.
to who? Who is it?
It's like Brandy Glanville.
Oh gosh. Yeah, if you want to see all of that, go to youtube.com/randomlyRonnie Jr. because some comments were made. But yes, this is a refreshing Danielle. And beyond that, this, I mean, I kind of love it, but I worry that I won't love it. Danielle is tight with Teresa. So now you have a whole nother dynamic. You got somebody that I'm like, wow, I really like this girl. But then she has a little bit of a loyalty towards Teresa. So that, you know, I kind of wonder where that will land. You know what I mean? I'm almost like, no, Danielle, now you're on the show.
I honestly
Go
don't
to
think
the.
I don't think that Danielle is that person. I don't think that's her character to actually choose sides. I really think that she's going to be the one that everyone wants to be around, regardless of the situation. I think they're going to try and convince her and persuade her into acting a certain type of way, but I think she's too strong of an individual to really give in to what anybody else wants. And she's going to do exactly what she wants to do for herself.
Well, that and Teresa's probably like, I don't want that smoke with Danielle either. So Teresa does need to kind of just accept her as a friend and let her do what she does. What I'm saying by that is I did see an interview where they had asked Danielle about her friendship with Teresa and the other ladies. And Danielle said, I told Teresa, I'm kind of just phrasing it in my own head, something like, I told Teresa that I'm your friend, I'm loyal to you, but I need to step into this experience authentically and I need to decide for myself who I get along with. And Teresa was very much okay with that. So I love that. I love everything about, yes, ride for your girl. Teresa got you in the show or whatever. Have your loyalty to her, but like be open to sort of not playing both sides, but like you should be friends with all the ladies. Absolutely. Yeah.
And you know what's fair is that my mom raised me on this. Don't ever go off of or take what people say with a grain of salt, right? So, and don't tell other people how they should feel about someone else, because the last thing that you want is for them to turn to someone and say, well, Russell said how much of a backstabber you are. And then they come back and report to you like, actually, I really like them because they actually might be two cuts of the same cloth. They actually might both be backstabbers. So I was always told not to report to one about the other because then it's always going to come back to bite you in the butt. So I just, when it comes to my influence on anybody, I will not step into that territory, which I do appreciate that Danielle is going to do the same thing. I appreciate that to its fullest because it shows that you're your own person, but also it keeps you out of unnecessary trouble by just formulating your own opinion, by not projecting your opinion onto somebody else. I think that's the best way to go about anything, because if you do see that two people are meshing, it might work and you might be able to have your place there, or you might take a step back and think, maybe this person isn't as much as a person for me as I thought they were. So let me take one or two steps back. Let me fall back and watch how this continues to play out. And then, you know, they say when dogs eat out the same dish, they eventually snap at each other. So if that happens, then it's like, oh, okay, I was right. Or if it doesn't happen, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, we're good. That's all I need to know, you know?
Now, I'm not happy that in the trailer, we get Jackie saying, don't put your hands in my face. And Danielle says, this is how I talk, and puts her hands in her face even more. Because again, I don't want it to be a divide, but we'll see where it goes. I mean, Danielle was such a refreshing, she was so refreshing to the show. She'll shake things up in terms of like, Jen was always like the loyal one to Teresa, you know, blind loyalty to a fault. So this kind of shakes things up quite a bit. I'm into it. I'm into it. Yeah,
I'm into it too. We're getting a little spicy Latina, but it's not Latina, it's Italian, which I appreciate it. We're getting a little spicy Italian sausage.
She has something to say. I mean, that's the thing. She has something to say. Again, I at the top of this show here, I said she gives like an elevator pitch very easily. She's able to tell you who she is in 3 seconds, and she could do it more than one way. She's been here before, you know, even though she's done smaller reality TV projects or whatever, or you know, the YouTube channel was Bougie Mom or something like that, and her clothing line was Bougie Kids, and like, you know, it wouldn't be far-fetched that she also was like, I'm gonna not make sure my kids act up or whatever, but to do a soundbite and say my daughter's, you know, I gotta ring her back in, or else she gonna be like, she's gonna be another me, or whatever she said. If you're really about it, sometimes you're always branding and you're always marketing. That's why I'm like, Bougie Kids makes sense. You got a louder daughter, yeah.
You know what I was intrigued by is that they're new to the show, right? And their cameras are filming 24/7. I went through it with my family where there's a camera in your face like all day, every day. And so I noticed when the son spilled something, her husband was like, oh man, you spilled it. But I'm like, is that how he really would have reacted? I mean, we're just getting to know them. So I'm just curious if that's how he really reacts. Because if so, like, he's such a calm nature, which is why I can see why Danielle fell in love with him. To just have someone that's just so easygoing. My grandfather was like that. You know, when with us as kids, like we were so, oh my God, as kids, like we were just nuts, running everywhere. Like, oh my God, when I had to get work on my teeth, like my grandpa had to hold me so that I wouldn't scream, and it was just a mess. But he was calm, like Danielle's husband. So I'm like, is that really how he is, or is he really trying to suppress it for the show? Because let me tell you, baby, you step into any Mexican mama's house, they're gonna be like, I just cleaned the floor, and they're gonna, you're gonna get it. You're gonna have to go get the toalla out of the sink, and you're gonna have to clean the floor, and you're gonna have to wash it out so it doesn't smell like mildew. Put some dish soap, hot water, and then you're gonna have to hang dry it so it doesn't smell. So, and actually, it was so funny to see it happen because I was like psychoanalyzing it. Like, is this how he really is as a person, or is he really playing a role for the show so that he doesn't like pop off?
I think that's how he really is. I mean, she kind of indicated that she wears the pants of the family. That's number one. And she also represented and mentioned his charming side more than anything. Like he said, like, oh, you're going to be mine. And then she like changed up her voice. She's like, no, it was more like, you're going to be mine or something like that. Like she was able to give us who he was. But again, is she kind of putting him in a space where he has to portray this? I don't know. Either way, we're following the story. I believe they actually, I guess they met at a club, but I think she was living in LA at the time. So that's another thing about her. Like she did have a mindset to be an actress at some point, is what I'm seeing or hearing. And so they might have even met at a club in LA. Either way, who doesn't want it? It's kind of like perception is reality. Did all these things happen, or is she just telling us and we're believing it? I'm kind of believing it right now. She's given us no reason not to believe it. And so I kind of think he might just be a little more the mellow, low-key guy.
Okay.
A lot of men who take to their wives, and the wives are the, bigger talking points and a little louder and a little more ambitious. And the man just kind of, sits in the background and makes sure he doubts on his wife. Doubt or dote? What's the word? Doting on your wife? Doubting?
Dope.
Not doubting. You can't doubt your wife because she won't have it. No, don't do that to Danielle. No, but it's good and we like it. And to your question, I think it was authentic so far. I think it was authentic. Yeah,
I think it was, and I think, oh gosh, he is such a beautiful individual.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's talk about hot husbands.
Oh,
okay.
That is not how you spell it, Russell. No.
Buns.
I guess today it is. Today it is. Who did you love?
Hit the gym. They all hit the gym. And like, kudos to Dolores again. Main character energy. Kudos to Dolores for running this calendar promo shoot. Let's just show the viewers what we're working with here, because it was like,
all right, we're gonna judge. We're gonna judge
what she was doing. Oh,
okay. Oh, wait, close your eyes. No, we're not there yet. Okay.
So this was the initial promo shot. It's so funny though, because I don't think I can zoom in right now, but if you look in Joe's crotch, it's actually Frank Catania, because he was having stomach issues.
Mm-hmm.
For the initial shoot, so he had to be shot at a later date. Which the Easter Bunny,
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Oh, what about his girlfriend being like 20 years younger than him? That was something different.
So she's 33.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I've dated older than myself.
I mean, it's fine. I just
do we think it's a publicity stunt move? I don't know. She hasn't necessarily been part of the show until this time around.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't been brought around. So maybe Frank was actually testing the waters to see if it was the real thing.
I'm very interested to see the divide that Paulie is sort of requesting that Dolores kind of, you're with me now, versus always being with Frank, and I would also like to see what that looked like for her. I can't remember Frank's younger girlfriend's name. But, we just saw too much, although we loved it, too much Dolores and Frank broken up while they were dating other people. So it'll be interesting to see all the opinions. Paulie's opinion, Frank's girlfriend's opinion. And evidently, Frank is still living with David, that one is a little tough to comprehend. But, I mean, I guess if it works, right?
You know what? I think it's just because Dolores has it. Dolores is able to just make things work. I mean, granted, she used to be a probation officer. So,
yeah.
I mean, she can keep things in line and she can keep it in check. So, my mind is not surprised whatsoever that two of her exes are living together, and the third one will end up getting along with the other two as well.
She wears a
Because
heart on her sleeve, though, too.
she does.
Yeah.
But she's also a good person. Like, we haven't really seen her be a bad, malicious person. We've seen a lot of the other housewives do that. But we haven't seen Dolores be a bad person, which I absolutely love about her. You know, it is interesting. It is interesting and makes me question what goes on through Frank's mind, because he lived with Dolores at one point and now he's living with David. And it's like, grant you, he did build David's house. Yes. But what?
Well, don't you want to live with your girlfriend too? I mean, that's another thing. Yeah, it's like,
you know,
no one's getting any younger. No one's getting any younger. But I don't know. I mean, you know, I don't ever want to judge unique situations, because I hate when people judge too blindly, like as if everything has to be, you know, white picket fence, you know, 2 kids. I don't like that either. So let me chill a little bit. Yeah.
Or maybe there's some freaky deaky stuff going on that we don't know about.
With,
I said it.
Okay.
Not with Frank and David. Although we're also not against that either.
I will be dreaming about all of that later.
I'll be dreaming of Frank tonight, going David. I actually wonder how that relationship unfolded after post breakup, right? Because everyone was putting the pressure on David to propose to Dolores, which they were together for 5 years. It didn't happen. He was always busy with his career, which I get it. He's a doctor. I watch Grey's Anatomy. I know they're very busy all the time from all my experience with Grey's Anatomy. But it is refreshing to see someone that's putting her first, to see someone that's making time for her. Again, Dolores is just as busy. She's doing promos for the show. She's running around making a name for herself. She has a lot going for her, as well as raising 2 kids, juggling 2 exes. Like, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Did David, her ex, didn't he also get work for Frank Jr. at one point also? Like, I can't recall what Frankie does. I think he does something completely different now. But so, yeah, she was really tied into David for all those years. So it's it's going to be an interesting, not separation, but interesting time away, you know, as a sort of what we're hearing requested with Pauly. Now, we have to say it. We have to say it. Russell, we have to say it.
What are we saying?
Which is, you know, physicality, we don't care. You know, everyone looks beautiful in their own way, for sure. I'm gorgeous, personally. But, I mean,
I'm having a moment. Wait a minute.
Wait, say it. Oh.
You're welcome.
Who would you rather go to bed with? David or Pauly or Frank? You don't even have to answer now. Let's revisit this at the end of the episode. Who would, and this could be for the comments as well, who would you want to go to bed with? Frank, the ex, the father of your children, David, who couldn't commit, or Pauly, who seems fun, but I don't know. He hasn't won me over yet. I still miss David.
Really? Do you really miss David that much? Why is that? I
don't know. I didn't go to therapy this week. I don't know. I don't know. Stop asking me. I don't
know. I'm just very shook about that, if I'm being honest.
He's a little stern. He's a little sarcastic. Oh yeah, I was into it then. Let's just say this. This is episode 1 reacting. I may not feel that way going forward. Well, you didn't answer. Let's just have you answer now then. How about that? I'll turn it on you.
This is my show. I will do what I please. Hold on. We need to mute you. No, I mean, like, let's get it here. We're going to move on to the next husband. We're going to put a pause on that, and I will answer that. I promise everybody I will do that. But Joe Bonino, you know, I think this shot worked for him. He doesn't work out. He's an older gentleman. He was eating a grilled cheese the night before the photo shoot. What do you think about his look?
He did well, and I love the confidence that exudes within. You know, being married to someone like Margaret, who kind of always, you know, Margaret is she's very demanding, and she kind of in a very similar way to Danielle, even though they're completely different people. Like, you know, the husband usually just follows what what is what the wife wants, you know. So I think that was made sense. I think he did a good job. I like that he didn't get insecure or wasn't confident, you know, when some of the other men were bringing the heat. He was being playful, and I thought that was good. Yeah.
I think I feel like Dolores did a really good job when it comes to dressing all of the men in the outfits that work the best for them. She really had them in a comfort zone. And I think she does again bring that to just the room. She brings a very comforting sense as an individual to others so that they can be themselves entirely. I mean, unless it comes to Jennifer Aiden, then there's obviously that issue there. But I feel like when it came to the men and she was dressing them, she really had in mind the kind of bodies that they have, the kind of confidence that they would feel. And I think she really took into consideration what would work best for Joe Bonino. And I think the motorcycle looked great on him. It was a
Yeah.
great shot. He was laid back, clearly. So he was calm, cool, relaxed. And I mean, that was that on that. Now, what do we think about Bill? I think this is, and I am not attracted to Bill whatsoever, but I feel like, and not to belittle what he looks like, he's just not my type. I feel like this was a knockout of knocked it out of the park for Bill. I think Bill looked excellent in this photo.
Yeah, one of the things I like most about Jen, because I usually struggle with enjoying her on the show, I like the happiness that Bill brings to it sometimes. You know what I mean? And Bill is more seemingly like a shyer man, um, but he has fun. He has a little bit of fun. You know, he has fun with the guys. He has fun with these projects that are so far outside of his character that he would never be doing, you know, elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's nice. And I do think, yeah, you're right. Dolores, in terms of directing and the photographer that she hired, bring out the best in everybody. Beauty isn't what we talk about this on Real Housewives of Miami, and we want Julia to step into getting back into modeling because she expressed, not our words, but hers, but she wants to do it at a different age. And there's a marketplace for that. Beauty is so open now. It's open to interpretation. It's open to how you feel. You know, even when I look at myself, you know, I've been heavier, I've been slimmer, you know, and now I'm over 40. Like things are not as easy. And I probably have 6, 7, 8, 9 things I'd like to do to enhance and better myself. However, at the core of my heart, I feel beautiful today, right here, right now.
Yes, I know that's right. You better say that again.
And right here, right now,
I know that's right.
I do feel beautiful. And the point of it is, I think it's great when you have someone like Dolores finding this cause that works for everybody and bringing out the thing that makes you shine the best. So if it were me, again, vulnerably speaking, I would say, oh, I would stand to lose 20 pounds. I would stand to, you know, this or that, or all these little things. We have our insecurities. Sure. We all do. But if Dolores or the project itself brings out that best in you, and I don't know what that would even be for me. Would it be the vibe of being a broadcaster? You know, I'm not just a podcaster. I've done radio for 20 years as well. So
Yeah.
you find what works for you. You know, I'm very grown up in California, but I spent 7 years in New York. Like you find what works and brings out your beauty, and that is what makes you beautiful, or hot in this case.
Yes.
So I used all that in terms of Bill Aiden to say that's how I feel. That's why I'm able to look and agree with you that Bill Aiden, yeah, he turned it. He turned it. I mean, yes, this is good. This is good, and it's fun. And it's fun.
And he shaved his chest. Do you prefer smooth or hairy?
Both at the same time. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I am a saint.
Did you hear that? Did you?
I am
Jesus. Did you hear that, Jesus?
No. I didn't answer the question. Moving on. Russell's like, this is my show.
Louis.
My show.
I think this is a great shot on Louis. I think he's an awkward individual.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a terrible individual from, you know, what I know from him, but a great shot. He does bring the namaste with Teresa right now. I think there's nothing more to be said about this photo, but I think it's great. I think I would love a photo of myself like this.
Yeah, there's nothing really more to say. Channeling your inner peace is valuable, so we keep it. You know, we'll keep it there. Yeah.
And what do we think about Joe? I mean,
Big
I couldn't help but laugh about this because Joe is such himself in everything that he does that, like, of course, Joe would be on a grill, all greased up with a hot dog in his hand, and he's always messing with for lack of better words and for sensitivity reasons on YouTube, private parts. And so like he's very much into it.
He's very phallic.
I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it serious. Like I could take it serious. He looks great. I mean, looks flawless. But
the part
I'm
of the
like,
show
this is
that
Joe.
it's Joe, and it's what we love about him. And the part of the show that's always dramatic with Joe, and Twitter's always got something to say. You know damn well at the core of this show, the people generally, unless they're having an issue with him, they love having people like Melissa and Joe around. They're familiar. We have these friends in our friend groups. You know what I mean? And that's what I saw when I saw the photo. Like, you know that guy. I know I said that about Danielle. You know that girl. But these are very familiar. Jersey might do this better than anyone else, actually. They give people that feel, you know, contextually the same, be it wherever you live, be it whatever your vibe is. And yeah, you have that one friend that just goes for broke, doesn't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah,
you know, they could have grabbed one of the hot dogs and played with it with him, and it would have been fun too. He's not tripping over it. He's not questioning his manhood or whatever. He's good. And he, I mean, he does have a really wonderful body at a, you know, he's not that young anymore. So I've always loved Melissa and Joe's passion for each other. And, you know, it rubs off. Their sexuality sometimes rubs off. And it's beautiful to see. Yeah.
I think it's great though to be young, to be sexy, to embrace yourself, to embrace your sexuality, but also to be able to play with your sexuality at the same time. Like Joe could very much put a hot dog in his mouth and kiss Frank, and it won't be anything other than to make everybody laugh, because that's just who Joe is.
Well, you know? They say humor is also a aphrodisiac. You know what I mean? Humor, you know, could kind of light up the room, make you feel a certain way. So he's got it going on when it comes to that. He's got it going on.
Is that why I'm always laughing?
Oh, are you in heat? Is that what you say? I don't know what you're saying. Look at you title the bottom of the screen "Hot Husbands," so your mind is elsewhere right now,
baby.
It's Aquarius season, and you are Aquariusing it fully.
And it's my last day being 30, so I'm gonna say what I want and do what I want.
Do it. Do it. Happy birthday
one
too.
Of my front runners of this photo shoot is Evan Goldsnyder. I think, like, damn, I wish I looked this good. And I'm gonna get there by the end of this year, but damn, he looks good. Like his pec definition, his tricep definition, his traps, like his jawline, even if he doesn't necessarily have a chiseled face, like his beard is working and to complement his facial features, like the 3/4 profile. The only thing I wish would have been different about this photo is that he would have wrapped his hands around the ball a little bit more. So I don't necessarily know if he's ever played basketball. I know he's an athlete, but I don't know if he ever played basketball to that caliber. But I mean, he's definitely one of my front runners for the husbands in this shoot.
Why did Jackie say? Jackie said, "Oh yeah, we had sex today. We're not gonna do it for like another week and a half."
My favorite part about Jackie saying that they had sex today, she's like, "I'm good. We're done for the week," which is like, it's so true. The older you get, like, you know, you just hear your friends talk about it and you're like, "Oh, I'm not feeling as frisky as I might feel before. I just want to cuddle and go to sleep and eat potato chips in bed." And it's like, that is hilarious.
The libido changes, I guess. Yeah, it's but Jackie, that's just who she is though too, because she said she was the one who was always saying in seasons before, she's like, she wasn't going to give him fellatio. So she's just different. She's different in that way. You know, a lot of people, especially on these TV shows, love to be very blunt about what they like to do and stuff. I don't fault Jackie in any way, and it's some way makes it endearing to see Evan. Like you don't get everything from Jackie in terms of, you know, what goes on, and somehow it just makes you more endearing to Evan. I think on one of the Watch What Happens Live episodes last season, Matt Rogers, who of Las Culturistas, and he had the Showtime series, he was like, "Oh yeah, Evan, he's like the top dog of Jersey for House Husbands," and it's not a far-fetched statement at all. Yeah, no, he's it.
Ay, qué rico, deliciosa.
Yeah.
That's what they said. That wasn't me. That was just quoting. I was just quoting everybody who's talking about it.
That's
And
what Twitter.
introducing the newbies, Polly. Polly Connell. This is Dolores Catania's new boyfriend, soon to be fiance. We see in the trailer that they're talking about proposing. He's talking about, proposing to her, being in love. I'm assuming he's somewhat Irish. If he, or no, he probably hit
No, there was
May, right? Or March.
no, there was a lot of luck of the Irish talk. Yeah, yeah. I don't know for sure, but there was a lot of
Yeah.
talk, of that. And I did make the joke earlier, Frank, David, or Holly, but at the end of the day, I want, because and you and I both agree on this. We really like Dolores. Like, she's one of our favorites.
Yeah.
I tend to really go hard for Melissa for sure, but I love Dolores. Like, yes, like you say, she's main character energy.
Yes.
So it's kind of like this thing that happens where when people you like, and this happens in your regular friend groups too, if they get excited about something, so do you. So would Polly be the one I would like take a glance at? Probably not. But if it makes her happy, I'm into it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm really, really like, oh, I'm glad she found somebody. I'm bummed it wasn't David, but go ahead, Polly, change the game, change it up. You got her now. So
he's cute. I want to see what he brings to the table this season, and I want to see how much love he shows her, because I think Dolores is deserving of it. She's a very good person, and she's raised her kids, and she's raised her husband, and she's raised her ex-boyfriend. Like,
yeah,
she's done it all. And she's probably raised a whole village being a probation officer and getting everybody right on their feet. So
it's time for someone to take care of her.
Yes.
Absolutely. Strong women are wonderful, but they're not, you always put that, we
They're
as
not
people,
invincible.
society is always, oh, she's a strong woman. Wonderful. But that doesn't mean that woman doesn't want the attention, the chivalry. Like, come on. Yeah. So to that, Polly, you stepped it up.
Good job, Polly. We appreciate you. And there's John Buddha. So he used to be a model, actually. I mean, it works. That was no shade either. Like, I stuttered on it because it's a great photo, and I always feel bad if I have nothing more to say than it's a great photo and he looks great in it, and it's a compliment within itself. But that's kind of as far as I go with this.
Yeah, that's not a diss, though. I get what you're saying. We talk for a living, let's say.
Yeah.
And so looking at John, he's a good looking guy, but yeah, I feel that sometimes. And I've done that sometimes. Someone will ask me a question. I'm like, oh, he looks or this, or the fashion is this. Like, it's hard sometimes, but it doesn't mean you're against it or it's a bad look. I do love the lumberjack little situation, the boots. I mean, always nice. The beard is so strong though. He almost looks like one of my favorite podcasters, rapper turned podcasters, Joe Budden. He almost looks like Joe Budden.
Oh my God. I didn't even think of that.
When Joe Budden used to have the mean beard. Yeah. Like, it looks very, Joe Budden is not a chubby guy, but there's occasional photos where he looks a little like party bloat, like he's just been bloated a little. No diss. Joe Budden is like literally one of my favorites to do, broadcasting. But there was a little bit of a Joe Budden look. I couldn't get that out of my head.
That is hilarious. Like, I was trying to think who he looked like.
Yeah, pump it up. Yeah.
I couldn't.
I mean, that's his only music. Obviously, he's got a catalog of music too. But yeah.
And there it is.
Yeah.
But again, it's not a diss. Like,
not a diss. No.
He looked great. He knows what he was doing. Like, it's like the top models in the world. It's like, yeah, that was a great photo. They look great. And that's kind of how we go with there. Like, there's no need to continue on. If it's great.
Well, for the record, I struggled when you and I on my channel, we did Real Housewives of Miami fashion runway, the looks. And you, who knows fashion really, really well, you had a lot of really great things to say. And sometimes I watched the clip back and I was like, oh my gosh, I had nothing to, like, you worry about those things, but sometimes less is more. And it's not bad. It's not bad at all.
I think it's great. I think his family's beautiful. I think his wife is gorgeous. And
we haven't talked about her very much. She's not as memorable as Danielle, we have to say.
I don't think she had the opportunity to be this time around, but I think eventually, like, she'll have a little bit more of focus in the episodes. But yeah, I think so far everyone's off to a great start.
Did
And
we love how
last,
young she was?
but certain, I know she's only a year older than me. What am I doing with my life?
Young, too young. You know, I like my housewives 50 and above mostly. I don't mind a 30. I don't mind a 35. I don't mind a 40. But 45 to 50 to 60, that's what I like. So
I
getting
like
somebody who's younger than my little sister is gonna be different. But you know, if you didn't go young, you may have not had. I mean, Melissa was very young when she started the show. She was
she
really,
was in
really
her
young. Yeah.
early 30s,
So
if not just turned 30.
I think she was younger. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She was not. You're right. She might have just turned 30.
What I would like is for the Real Housewives of New York to go younger,
I think they did.
because it's not for me. Like, the Real Housewives of New York has never worked for me, minus the first couple seasons with
Oh, see,
Bethany
I like
Frankel,
them.
the original
Yeah.
cast.
Hmm.
But I don't feel like it's working now. I feel like it's pushing too hard to try to be something, or
Hmm.
it's not working. And I would like to see that cast drop significantly in age around the 38-year-old range,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of 38-year-olds in New York who are either still working for it or they've already achieved it. And so I
Hmm.
feel like that would make a great show. I also know some individuals that would be perfect on that show.
Yeah.
But bravo, if you want that, call me, cut me the check, I'll give it to you. Besides that, we're going to go on to last but certainly not least.
It's like that. It's like
Oh,
it's.
Lord, baby Jesus.
It's not. Say his name,
Nate
Nate
Cabral.
Cabral.
Look at those art. Like, ooh, I wish I looked like this.
And the thing is, he was, I mean, you have to give extra credit points too for the humbleness. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you're a good looking guy, but you're not leading with that. Like, he seems like he's a good dude also.
Yes.
Seems funny as well. I was looking in the background shots when other people were being photographed, and he looked humorous and enjoyable with all of them too. So aside from having such a long torso and all these things that we love, he also seemed like he was enjoyable, which you have to kind of be. Even if you're with Danielle and your wife is like more the life of the party than you, you still are moving at that pace. You're still in on it. You get the game, you get the rules.
Yes.
And so far so good with this couple.
I
Very
know.
hot couple. And
I'm obsessed.
the way she described him, even if you weren't feeling him at the beginning, like she put it out there. She ramped you up. So yeah, he definitely was the lead. Joe, I'm not gonna not say Joe Gorga wasn't still the top dog. I'll put Nate number 2, Joe Gorga number 1, just because I'm not turning my back on Joe like that. But Nate
I don't
was
think I would
definitely.
turn my back on Joe either. However, something refreshing and new story and new energy is always great to any housewife show. So I absolutely 100% appreciate what Nate brings to it. And there's such a sense of maturity and just of man there that you don't necessarily get from all these other franchises. Like, he really brings a sense of just calm, secure, mature, and it seems like he really does take the step back. He takes a step back, he lets his wife have the spotlight, and then he has his moments. And I'm sure the boys will throw him right into the mix like they've been doing for seasons now. And I feel like Nate is going to fit along great with them. He might be a little bit more reserved when it comes to being a party animal, but I feel like I'm excited to see his fun side just because he is such a reserved individual. We got to see Bill's fun side, and then Bill ended up getting carried upstairs upside down by his head. He got too drunk on one of his first boys' nights out.
Yeah, no, Danielle and Nate are a perfect fit for this show. Whether they're siding with Teresa, which is not my favorite side, I still think this is a really, really good choice. They have a lot of longevity on this show, and it's what we needed. The show has been a little too stagnant with the same cast members. Still keep Jackie, still keep her as a friend of. Keep her next year, the year after. You could even bring Tracy back, friend of. Certainly take Jen down to a friend of. But we needed new energy, and I think we got it. Yeah.
Well, Ronnie, that brings us to our last question when it comes to husbands. Who is your daddy?
Okay.
Out of all the husbands that we just saw, who would be your daddy?
Okay, so my second choice. Well, I mean, I basically kind of already said it, but let's take Nate out of the picture because he is the newbie. Let's go off
Okay.
some of the people we're more familiar with.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna go with I think Margaret's Joe exuded something. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? With not having the perfect body, with being joked around about like, oh, tuck your stomach in, and still having, not letting that get to him. So I'm gonna put him up there really high because again, beauty is defined on how you define it. And Joe Gorga is definitely my number one. Yeah, Joe Gorga is always spelled Zaddy for Joe Gorga. Yeah, Zaddy. Yes,
I
that's
think
what.
I think my zaddy would have to be Evan for sure.
Oh, I forgot about him. Yeah, all right, all
As soon
right.
as you lose, sorry, that's mine. You can take.
Listen, we were happy watching the show regardless, so it's okay. It's
I
okay.
feel like if anybody can have a spinoff show, it would be the Husbands of New Jersey.
And the other franchises try it, but it doesn't connect. I
Mm-mm,
mean, some might a little, but it doesn't connect like this group.
mm-mm.
No,
It
no,
does
no.
not work the way that Jersey works.
Frank puts in time,
Hmm.
Joe Gorga puts in time, and
Hmm.
everyone else sort of trickles in on that fun. So yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty much the end of the show. So, what are your predictions coming up? We saw that Jennifer and Dolores were arguing on the way out the door. Where do you think this friendship is going? Where do you think it's going to go with Teresa and Melissa? I mean, other than what we've already heard on Watch What Happens Live. And how do you think the new girls are going to fall into place? Go.
New girls are winning for sure. Definitely Danielle. The other girl, I will have to grab that. I'll have to understand her a little bit more. I
Hmm.
liked the Margaret friend, Jennifer, a little bit more. Even though we didn't get a ton, so I'm going to be looking out for her. I think our predictions are going to be Jen, Aiden, the comedian. She's going to really dip into family story, personal story, versus being with the girls because I think she's going to feel outshined to a degree. She might not say that to us, but I think that's what she's going to do. She's going to start to feel overwhelmed. She's not the space that she once occupied is now occupied. So she's going to have to go elsewhere. And I think it's going to get tough. We're going to see a lot of tough Bill and Jen stuff. Um, and I think Jen's going to give us a season that will indicate that she's ready to be a friend of. And Dolores will shine so bright this season that every moron who's like, oh, Dolores hasn't really been giving us a storyline. Like maybe she doesn't need one. Maybe Dolores is that fly that she's just good for the show. Have you ever thought about that?
I could see that.
Yeah. So Dolores is going to, because she holds Teresa accountable for a lot of stuff and still has loyalty to her, like you said, Dolores is going to get a little bit of her shine. What? By the way, why isn't it Dolores's time? Think about that.
Hmm.
Think about that. Why isn't it her time? I mean, Polly, if you want to do it, not for the sake of the TV, but come reunion, you want to do the proposal there. I mean, if it were me, let's go, let's go.
My predictions are that Dolores is actually going to shift to the forefront person of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Teresa's actually going to take a step down because I feel like something this season is going to break her, and she's
Mm.
not going to be able to sustain her hierarchy on the show because she just doesn't withhold that power anymore. Danielle's definitely going to come in. She's going to shake things up in a good way, and I think she'll be the new go-to girl where everyone can kind of just converse with her and confide in her, and it'll be okay. And Dolores again is going to be that powerhouse. We've already seen it. She ended last season with her own event. She started off this season with the charity event with the calendars. So I definitely think Dolores is the one to watch out for because she is going to be the new front-running housewife of New Jersey.
Another thing about Danielle, and I know we're gushing over her way too much, but I mean, we got to say what we say.
You got to say it.
Danielle's also going to be the one that connects the most with other Bravo celebrities. She's going to be the one that's going to get name checked on like maybe a scripted series or
Hmm.
whatever, like those name checked in a good way.
Hmm.
She's going to make an impact. Like there's there's some scripted show right now that's going to write something like, "Who you think you are, Danielle from Housewives of New Jersey?" Like there's just something that Danielle's making an impact on people is what I feel. She's
Mm.
fun. It's what we needed. We because by the way, she could have came in, given all that Staten Island energy and been tougher and mean or whatever, but she gave us fun, and we've been needing fun for this show because we're so sick and tired of sorry, Teresa, but we're so sick and tired of all this. We're so sick and
Yes.
tired of how you're sick and tired of Melissa. We are tired of that. And so Danielle is she's been here before. You got to act like you have been here before. So yeah.
And I can't wait to see what the season holds, because there is a lot to be said, and there's a lot of avenues that this can go down. But until then, we're just gonna have to wait and see what Bravo comes out with on this next episode of season number 2. We do want to thank all of you we want to thank all of you for joining us today here on our podcast of the recap of Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 13, episode 1. But before you take off and before you go anywhere else, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Come back every week and visit myself and Ronnie. Before you head out of there, go head over to Ronnie's podcast, which we'll be heading on to next. We'll be covering the Real Housewives of Miami. Ronnie, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/randomlyRJ Jr. If you want to do it easier, just go to randomlyrjr.com. It goes right to there. And when you do the hashtag, do hashtag randomly with Ronnie Jr. There's over 600 videos outside of all the pop culture stuff that me and Russell talk about over there. And I do think it's funny that the first episode I did, in case you want to call me out, the first episode I did on Jersey, my background is actually not the Jersey side. This is from my friend's office in Greenpoint, looking over the East River into the Manhattan side. When in reality, I should have had a background that was on the Jersey side, looking over the Hudson into the skyline. So I understand. So if anyone wants to clock me, understand I already know that I made not the error. It just was a beautiful picture that was actually taken by my friends in their office and their aerial cinematographers. So kiss my ass if you don't like it. I'm just telling you, I noticed it too. Okay. Thanks.
All right, so it's been so real. It's been so fun. I'm Russell Ray. You can find me all over the internet at Russell X Raymond, or you can head over to my website at russellraysilva.com. Until then, we'll see you over for the Real Housewives of Miami, or we'll see you here next week for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, episode 2.